Please just stop, pause, and have a look. And when you've had this look, you probably can feel a bit more control over what's around here. Should you please look over not only this, look over the code and just look at it. Don't try to understand it, but just get accustomed to what's there. Now, I hope you've done that. So we're going to go over what this thing does. Display grid, you know what that does. And then the grid template columns columns. You see it says that we have 6 columns in this one. Each is the same size, but so that they stretch and take up the whole 100% of the container, but each of them have the same size. And then we have column template rows, and we are saying that each row should be 10 rem in height. So 10 rem. As you can see, many times I'm using rem instead of fractions, or I always use rem if I ever set a height. I often don't use set height, but I do it in this practice just to show you. But many times I don't. And it's because fraction is basically dependent on the container height, and since we do not set the height of the container either, it is useless to set a fraction on it. So what we do here is saying that we have repeat 6, 10 rem, and that is not all. We got a lot of more things going on here, and these are not difficult to understand just because there's a lot of text there. They're kind of easy. So what this one says, it goes to an item, and which item is it going to? It goes to the first, the item that is the first child. So what does it mean? It means that it reaches in here and looks for all of these items. Collapse them like this. You'll see them at the same time. Sorry for taking time, but it's necessary to be able to view more. This is an item, and it says this is the first item, this is the second, this is the third, and so on and so forth. So what this then says is the number of item, which number of child. So the child number 1, and that's the first one. And then we have the second one, and then we have the 6th one and the 7th one. So there's like a bit of different combinations there. So we say the first child, and we got this thing going on, and I think now is the proper way, the proper time to take up this one. And I know this is a file that you, a program that you might hate or something like that, but please bear with me. So we have 6 by 6. I'm going to reduce this size of the first 6 things. I'm going to column width of 5. They're smaller, and then we have them over here. I'm going to just make 6 times 6 instead. These, we can see them clearly. So what are we saying when we're saying grid column 2-5? What does it mean? If you look visually here on the screen, you got 2-5. It is not talking about spanning columns. It's a different way of writing this. You earlier just saw that we had this grid column span 2. It's amount how many columns they're supposed to span. But here we're saying at which column line you're supposed to start and which you're supposed to end with. So you can see that we have a 2 up here. This is the first line, the one to the very left, and then we have a second one. It's going to start here, and it's going to end at 5. So basically we're saying here, starting there, and it's ending at 5. And this is the 1, this is the 2. Maybe we have, wait, yeah. We have ending at 5, that means 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 is there. Okay. It's not the 5th column, it's the 5th line. It might be confusing, but we're taking this and we're saying this is the area we cover right now. But it's not only that. We're saying at grid row, we're taking it from line 1, grid row line 1 to line 3. So we see up here we have 1, and we go from 2 to 3. So we start with up here 1, 2, 3. So this is in fact all the area we are taking up, and I can center it like this, and now this is actually just one big chunk where we are saying that our whole first item should be. We're taking up an area, and if you look at this wonderful thing behind here, you can see that there are a lot of things spanning and crossing, and you know, crossing lines and crossing columns. So there's like a lot of things happening here. The 2 crosses 4 rows. The 1 crosses there, and they're in different order. We can move them around. And this is where you get really into the power of grid. You can put up a grid system and you can place an item, whichever number it is, anywhere on the screen. And it can take up any amount of those cells. The same things actually repeat here. So you go to the second one. What does it say? Grid column 1 to 2. So it means that it has first line to the second line. So we know it takes up and that. And what does it start? It started 1 to 5. So it takes up the first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's all of that. That is what it takes, and it is a red. We say that, and we go with center, and there you go. So that's what it does. You basically just takes up these lines, and then you go to the child 6 here, and go 6 to 7. I mean, you will see that 6 is over here. So, and it starts on row 2, which it does. You can continue to read through this. It's actually doing the same thing over and over again, just taking a couple of them, sometimes 2 of them, because they are sharing the same row, but they have different columns, and they're placing them out. So please have a practice at just opening your Excel file, taking 6 columns, 6 rows, and then counting the lines, starting with the top here and to the very first left. These are the first lines. And then decide on where you're going to go without looking at this. Just read this code. You open this Excel folder. It will help you so much if you do that, and you find out that when you've done that and you go back into it, you see they have the same pattern. It's so logical. It's so easy, but it's not easy if you do not practice. And having done that, you are ready to step over to the next video.